Welcome to International Reporters Roundtable. I'm your host, Cindy Drucker. Our conversations bring together investigative journalists from around the world. They'll help us uncover hidden information, details of conflicts and alliances, and connections in a deep dive discussion. Joining us are journalists who have risked their lives to cover the story, forcing them into exile. They are the focus of our discussion. Why were they and their colleagues targeted? Is the free press dead in their home countries? And what does it mean for the world when these lights go out? We also have with us Sevinc Osmanqizi. She comes from a family of journalists in Azerbaijan, including her father, who died under questionable circumstances. Seeking the truth about his death ingrained in Sevinc her passion for truth-telling. As a young TV journalist, she covered the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. Today, broadcasting from Washington, she's one of the most critical and courageous voices of dissent about Azerbaijan. Known for inquisitive, balanced, hard-hitting reporting. Since fleeing to the United States in 2012, she's been active in promoting democracy through her online news channel, Osmanqizi TV. Welcome to you both. I'm going to start with Azerbaijan has a tiny border with Turkey. They've been longtime allies. Can you explain to us what is the situation of the press in Azerbaijan?
Well, similarly in Azerbaijan also, journalists had to choose whether they will be treated as puppets by the government, and they will be given free gifts like free apartments, cars, etc., and continue and work for the government and tell them what the government wants them to say, or they will go to prison. Many journalists chose exile, like myself, following repeatedly, attacks, intimidations, repressions. So very few independent media left in Azerbaijan. Those who are still in Azerbaijan, they unfortunately have to compromise their independence. Journalists, like last year, new journalist, blogger Abid Gaffarov, for instance, was thrown into jail. People get in trouble just by naming things, just by talking about corruption, about wrongdoings. Democracy is in real threat in Azerbaijan. So many journalists are broadcasting or streaming from overseas. So we have a large exile media community. Like myself, I stream my programs from United States. If I was in Azerbaijan, I would be similarly either in prison, or one way or the other, I wouldn't be able to do the work that I'm doing, which is just analysis, covering news. Defamation is a criminal offense, and journalists are thrown in prison for fake news, for talking corruption. Anything can get you in trouble in Azerbaijan. If you talk about the government, as you know, in Azerbaijan, it's an authoritarian rule. The government was handed over by father to son. So we have older president, junior president, and the junior president appointed his wife as the first vice president of the country. So we're talking about no exercise of free elections, no free judiciary. So it's very hard for journalists to stay in the country and to continue to cover news.
And Sevinc, both your parents were journalists, and I said in the opening that your father died and you're trying to understand what happened. Is that what led you to journalism, or why are you drawn to this very dangerous profession for someone in Azerbaijan?
Yes, indeed. Both my parents were journalists, and I grew up in an environment when being a journalist was, journalism was in general a very respected profession. Like I remember as a schoolgirl, my teacher would tell me that, say thank you to your father, I've read his article. So it seemed to me that, being a journalist, you would be forming a public opinion. And so therefore, and especially after my father's tragedy, and there was very little information or indeed investigation into what really happened there. So I decided that it was my duty, my job to do my best to see if I can do my own film or investigation. So it was part of why I wanted to be a journalist myself. But things have changed immensely since then. Looking back at almost 25 years in journalism myself, I don't remember journalism being such a difficult profession.
Sevinc, As a female journalist, is it more difficult for you, do you think? Do you feel you have some special responsibility to keep speaking truth and hold the line?
As a matter of fact, I do. First of all, there are not so many women in the field where I am, like in blogging, in covering politics, and I don't blame them. I mean, they look how the government treats the women journalists. They probably would choose to be a doctor or teacher or something. Being a woman journalist, they try to portray you as someone that is not fit, not a good mother, not a good wife, so on and so forth, so not well behaved. So this is something that they do, especially in countries that are whose population is predominantly Muslim. So they would use this to attack you, and I wasn't. My case was not an exception. So they go into your cell phone, they pick up the phones, they try to blackmail me. I remember it was 3 years ago when the local news in Azerbaijan, they publicly intimidated me. They blackmailed me, basically saying that if we have some special photos of Osmanqizi, if she does not quit, if she does not stop, in 7 days we're gonna make them public. Of course, I knew that it's a bluff, but still, they will go this extent. And there were cases with other women journalists in Azerbaijan where they've been filming and releasing the intimate footages of journalists. So. As women journalists, you're doubly targeted. I mean, if possible at all, they try to use it against you in any possible way.
What is the state of the free press in the Middle East in general? I assume both of you are, covering the region in general more than just your countries. What can you tell us about the state of the free press? What's the situation in general in the region, and also how easy is it to be connected with people in Azerbaijan as you're doing your reporting?
Well, I'm closely following the journalism matters in the region, like with Iran, Russia, Turkey, obviously, and I see like similar trends going on. In fact, even in US, I see similar trends with the fight against so-called fake information. I see we have similar laws adopted in the countries. They call differently, but the gist of it is pretty much similar, which is to control media. And so as to reaching out to my audience, because the channel is watched widely, Osmanqizi TV in Azerbaijan, so people know, they follow. Not everybody has courage to appear in the program, obviously, because they may have trouble tomorrow, they may get sacked, they may be warned, and I have lots of incidents of that. But nevertheless, I do have very courageous people who are there to talk to me, even though they know that they can be thrown into jail. For instance, one of my guests was imprisoned because of interview with me exactly a year ago on January 13. Ali Aliyev, the leader of the VIP party, has been thrown in jail because of the interview when he just expressed his opinion. I asked him as a doctor what he thinks about the helicopter crash, and he just aired his views on that. So that caused him trouble. He was first jailed for 6 months, then additional 5 months, then additional 3 years. So he's now in prison for 3.5 years for doing nothing, for just speaking his mind. So yes, there are problems like that, but it really amuses me that it doesn't stop people from coming out and talking and discussing and send a message to the government and to the whole world. I really admire the courage of people who are not stopped by the repressions.
Really incredible. Are you able to, or do you try to help any other journalists get out of the country? Is that a role you're able to play?
Well, a lot of the journalists have have left already because the situation is obvious. It's not going to change unless the regime changes. So it's been going on for years now. but there are still people who are staying in the country, hopeful that changes will come, or unable to leave because of family situation, sick family member, etc. So yes, we're in the same ship. We understand each other, and we understand that they have to bring down their tone, that they cannot cover everything, they cannot talk about everything. So I always say that we need to complete each other. I think freedom of press is part of a bigger situation, which means free elections, freedom of assembly, and unless there is a democratic changes in the country, there won't be any free press, and press will be seen as a threat to the state, to the government. So similar in Turkey, we have new laws adopted on media, which is like on fake information, so on and so forth. It's basically battle continues.
Do you foresee yourself ever going back?
One day, of course. I'm very optimistic about it.
And
yes, me too. If I know that I will not be put in jail next day, yes, I would love to. Absolutely. Democratic Azerbaijan, I'm there.
We have a little bit more time, actually, so I'd like to hear from each of you. What are your plans now? Tell us what you're doing and, what plans that you've got, Levent.
Well, regardless of conditions and circumstances, I intend to continue my journalism, because journalism is like a way of life for me. So I will try to make the show goes on. I will continue journalism. This is my plan.
Yeah, same with me. I love what I'm doing. It's a hard job, but it's what I'm best at. And it's very rewarding to see that despite all the government's efforts, spending millions and millions on their media, people are still tuning in. They still want to hear what the real news is, to good analysis. Seen a lot of women tuning in. There is a very low participation among women audience as well. But so this is all very rewarding. It makes me happy. So I'm happy what I'm doing. Obviously, I would be great to do it from the country rather than outside the country. But I'm hopeful that day will come.
Thank you both so much for joining us today. You're doing remarkable things, and I really admire it. Sevinc and Levent, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.